And we're back with the Screen Team on today's Talk 930 KWOC and 93.3 FM. We've got Michael Bowling back in the studio, and we're being joined by Kyle now. Kyle, good to see you. How are you, man?
Hey, doing great, man. Always glad to be on the panel.
Glad to have you aboard, and we're getting ready to review one of Michael's movies. It's called The Fifth Element. It's a movie came out back in the late 90s starring Bruce Willis. Also stars Gary Oldman and Mila Jovovich. And Michael, why don't you go ahead and kind of give us the rundown? What is the basic plot of this movie?
The Fifth Element is a sci-fi movie from, as you said, the late 90s. Bruce Willis is a taxi driver from the future where cars are flying, so he's kind of both a taxi driver and almost a jet pilot,
yeah,
you could say. He's just kind of a normal guy. You can tell he's lost a girl in his past life, and he's just kind of lonely. And in the backdrop, there's this huge plot for galactic domination brewing between these ancient species. And in order for the bad guys, led by Gary Oldman, who is very, very freaky looking in this movie, you can almost replace. He's almost doing a Johnny Depp in this movie.
He's very cartoonish.
He is, but it's entertaining somewhat just to see him like this because they don't ever expect Gary Oldman to look like this,
right?
But it is. I forget what it's called. But basically, Mila Jovovich is this subhuman artifact, almost the fifth element that they need to conquer the rest of the galaxy to obtain great power. And Mila Jovovich escapes because she has all these cool powers, super strength and super kung fu and everything like that. And she's able to escape from the enemy's clutches, and she finds her way to Bruce Willis's character, and she falls inside his taxi. And so this high-speed flying car chase scene, not unlike some of the scenes in Total Recall, ensues. And Bruce Willis and Mila Jovovich basically for the rest of the movie have to find their way. They have to keep out of the enemy clutches, and they have to basically save the world. All that in a nutshell.
all that in a 2-hour movie, right?
Yes.
All right. So, what is it about this film that you like or you dig?
Just the atmosphere of it all. How science fiction-y it is, and the originality of the plot as well is just it's not the best story I've ever heard. It's not the best we've ever seen, but it's entertaining for what it is, and it's just something to kick back and watch for an afternoon and to see all these different characters. Bruce Willis is fantastic as always. As I said, Gary Oldman is very entertaining as his cartoonish role, and Mila Jovovich is probably the best character. Her name is way too long to pronounce correctly, but they call her Lilu. Yes,
Lilu, that is multipass.
Look at this guy over here.
Nice,
Thank you.
And she's got the orange hair and the weird getup and the hilarious language that you just can't help but find somewhat appealing.
Right.
You're just keep talking to me. I want to hear what you sound like. I want to hear that accent. It's kind of like talking to a British guy. Keep talking. I want to hear that accent.
Yeah.
But just her character, and she doesn't know a lot about mankind, and just as she starts finding out just how much of a warlike species we are, she starts feeling sorry and almost hating mankind for what they are. And it's just that character development that is really interesting to experience.
So Michael likes this film. Kyle, are you on the same boat?
Absolutely love this movie. And I told you earlier, it's a true love-hate in terms of reviews. You just sometimes some people you have to appreciate the movie for what it is. Some just can't get into it. I watched it when it first came out and just thought it was absolutely wonderful. As far as I'm concerned, Bruce Willis is infallible. He can't do wrong.
I agree.
When all else fails, Bruce Willis is the answer.
Man.
Mila Jovovich did an excellent job. She kicked a whole lot of butt in this movie, especially there's a couple of particular scenes where she throws down with the enemy and shows them who's boss.
Right.
The unsung hero of this movie is Chris Tucker, if you ask me.
Oh my
He
goodness.
was hysterical as the androgynous radio DJ Ruby Rod. You didn't know what he was, but you had to keep watching him. He did a great job. All the side characters. I think this was a very well cast film.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fun. The action was very well done. And it had the right blend of, once again, action, romance, humor. I thought was very well placed and well timed. and nothing felt out of place. I just really enjoyed this film, man.
Yeah. I saw this film, I guess, when it first was released on home video, and
Video.
home video like that. That was a long time ago, man. But anyway, I saw it then, and I thought it was all right, and I watched it again a couple days ago to kind of get in the mode for this review, and not much has changed. I'm kind of just so on this. Kyle, you said you either hate it or love it. I guess I'm not in either one of those categories. I'm pretty indifferent about the film. I tell you what I do love. I thought the special effects were outstanding.
Right, for a late 90s film, it was like...
Oh, yeah.
Big budget. And the movie was made in it was made by a French production company, actually.
Really?
Yeah, so they talk about bang for your buck on working on a much smaller budget.
Wow.
Really were able to maximize everything.
Yeah, and they spent a lot of money on special effects from what I've read online and stuff like that, and they had one of the biggest, from what I said online, they had one of the biggest explosions ever seen in film.
Wow.
Really?
Which was in this movie, so that's kind of...
Before Michael Bay started filming.
No, he wasn't there yet.
Man.
He was doing Bad Boys, so he wasn't blowing stuff up yet.
Oh my gosh, did he do Bad Boys?
Both
I did
of
not
them.
know that. I was unaware of that.
I'm sorry.
Learn something new every day.
That's funny. So what is this film? Is this rated R, PG-13?
It's just PG-13.
Just
there
PG-13.
there is a little bit of brief nudity where Mila Jovovich is involved, but it's like late 90s, so they can kind of get away with that a little more.
Yeah.
But it's just PG-13.
Well, this guys, the budget was $90 million for this film, and it actually did really, really well. It made $265 million.
Yeah, wow.
So they definitely they made their money back.
No doubt about it.
This was definitely a big hit for pretty much everybody involved. So The Fifth Element, you can find it on DVD and Blu-ray, and it's also streaming on Netflix as well. So check it out, man. It's called The Fifth Element, starring Bruce Willis. Coming up after the break, we're going to review District 9. It's coming your way next on Today's Talk, 930 KWOC.